So this isn't really a matchup chart. Like I'm not giving objective metrics on how good do I think Marth is. I'm giving a metric on how good do I feel in each matchup. Like how proficient do I feel versus Fox, versus Marth, versus Puff, versus Peach. That's what this is. Is that you could have your own opinions on how good do you feel about each matchup, but this is my own personal take on how proficient I feel in each matchup at the moment. I'm gonna give the ratings out of 10. Because what inspired me to make this is I saw uh, a Brood War post of like, how come there is no Protoss Bonjuas, which is basically a Protoss god, and it's because like one of them was always weak in one matchup, and that's why we never saw like a dominant Protoss. And it's like, oh yeah, like all the good Protoss players, they always had like one weak matchup, and that's what prevented them from being really good. And I figured like, I wonder what I feel like, what matchups am I probably like a little weak at that I could probably improve upon, and like what matchups I feel pretty good about. And yeah, is it player dependent? Sort of, it could be player dependent. A player can use the tools of these characters to make it feel like I'm even more comfortable or uncomfortable. But it's mostly just the matchup itself. Like, when I see an average Fox in bracket, like, how do I feel? Essentially. And basically, I'm gonna give the rating something out of 10 to give you a feel on just generally what to expect whenever I fight these type of characters in bracket. Plus, uh, just like my personal thoughts, honestly. And whenever I see a Fox in bracket, this one may or may not surprise you, but I feel like on average, I feel like an 8.9, 8.75 out of 10. I don't feel I wasn't always the type of player that felt the most comfortable versus Fox, mostly due to his speed. Um, and how the window of escaping his combos are generally a little bit more tighter than Falco per se. Because like with Falco, there's like a lot of like slide offs and like a lot of other defense that you could do. But with Fox, it's like, you have a very small window to escape up throw up air. You have a very small window to escape wave shine. And if you miss it, then you kind of just eat like 50. Plus, like, you get hit by a shine, you instantly die. So, that is like always like the little bit stressful part of fighting Fox. But, I still think at the end of the day, like, Marth does well versus Fox. Like, he has a pretty good sword. He kills Fox. He could also execution. For how much I kind of stress out a little with Fox comboing me, Marth could do that really easily back. He can execution test pretty well versus Fox. I will say though, whenever I'm playing bad, if I'm playing bad, I'm like 6 out of 10 versus Fox. Because like whenever I'm playing like pretty bad, like I'm missing a lot of punish stuff, I'm getting tech and play shined, doing 5 grabs in a row because I can't identify the tempo of the match anymore. It's oh goodness, you don't ever want to like. I think me playing bad versus Fox is like an embarrassment, and that's what I'm happy about today. Like yesterday's TNT is I thought I played like kind of bad, but because I was working so much on like better decision making, I think it's slowly like my goal is to make this like an 8 out of 10 matchup if I'm playing bad, so that like it doesn't look like embarrassing anymore. Uh, but yeah, that's basically what it looks like whenever I'm playing bad. It's historically it's looked like a 6 out of 10 matchup for me. I think if I'm playing good though, it's like there's times where I feel like insanely good versus Fox, and this is what it looks like to me, where like the Fox is just done for. Uh, I hit my tech chases. I actually read the Fox pretty well. I death touch him. I'm able to react to every side B and all. That's I think like this is the matchup where I have like one of the most variance, depending on how good or how bad I'm playing. But I'm working on like reducing the variance. Like I'm hoping that like with the stuff I'm working with my floor, it could turn to like an 8 out of 10 when I'm playing bad even. But historically speaking, it's been 6 out of 10. Although I have a potential to make it an 8 out of 10. For Falco, this has been one of my most comfortable matchups for a very long time. Like Falco, if you look at my records versus every Falco in the field, I'm talking Ginger, I'm talking Fiction, Bobby, Magi, Albert, name every single one of them, sans Mango, I have a dominating record versus them. Uh, of course, that could change in the future, and like that's why every time one of them takes a set off of me, it's like such a like holy shit! I can't believe KoDoRiN dropped a set to them because like I'm just that good versus Falco. Like I don't drop sets versus Falco typically because I have like a really strong zoning sense in this matchup. I have a very strong power shield game versus them. I have like a really good way of gimping them a lot of times. I know a lot of good setups. They also kind of just mess up a lot, frankly, and like I'm ready to take advantage of that. I take lasers pretty well, I think. Not as good as Zane, but like overall, like even if I'm playing bad, like I don't think like my bad is even that bad. It's like I'm like 9 out of 10, and that's still pretty good, all things considered. Where I know a lot of my positions well versus Falco. I have like again dominating records versus a lot of Falco players. Yeah, there's like I could give you plenty of examples throughout like a lot of tournament clips where it's like, yeah, I don't think I played well, and I still like 3-0'd this Falco. Uh, there's been a lot of Falco enthusiasm lately about pushing the character, especially versus Marth. And I'm excited to see it because I think it's been a long time since Falco's really thought too hard about the Marth matchup. And, you have Mango being the forefront of it, and other Falcos are trying to push really hard. I mean, I went to Game 5 versus Bobby yesterday, and I feel like basically this type of rating means that anytime I fight a Falco that's like roughly around my skill level, I am almost certain to advance. Like 8.75 is like, I'm likely to advance, but there's like an upset chance. But 9.5 out of 10 is like, there's like a 95% chance that I'm going to be advancing. So consider each of these ratings like, 8.75, that's like 87% chance. And Falco is like, very, very likely. Like roughly equal skill level. That's why I consider these. Maybe not like raw percentage chance of advancing, but also like just how comfortable I feel with each matchup. Like I'm always comfortable fighting versus Falco. I'm always happy that like for instance at Low Tide City, I was more happy fighting Ginger than I was fighting Zealot. Because between Ginger and Zealot, I was like, which character would I actually be more happy fighting? Would it be Ginger or Zealot? And like my answer was Ginger because I'm just much more comfortable versus Falco than I am versus Fox. Even though Ginger's better than Zealot, like it's just because I'm that much more comfortable versus Falco that I'd rather play that matchup than anything else. And like even if I'm playing bad, like I don't look like I'm in like top form, like I still think I'm pretty fearsome versus Falco. That's the thing. Versus Marth, I honestly don't play the Marth all that often, but I do think I'm very strong at the matchup. Like I think overall, I'll give this like a 9.25 out of 10. Like I don't mind the Ditto. I like the Ditto a lot. You saw me take Zane to Game 5, and like I played a lot of Marths in friendlies, like Logan. I played him in friendlies at Smash Camp, and like I kind of destroyed him once I figured out how to nullify his tech chasing. Basically, this matchup really it's like the reason why I like this matchup a lot is because I really feel like the pacing of this matchup personally fits me the best. Like the average pacing, like the reason why I don't like the Fox matchup as much is because the pacing of that matchup is very fast, whereas like in the Marth Ditto, it's much more of my tempo that I appreciate a lot, and I feel like I'm better able to identify beats because of it. Um, I still could work on stuff like, some tech chasing stuff, some edge guards, some juggles, but overall, like, I actually think I'm pretty strong at this matchup, and I like it a lot overall, aside from those cheeses, which whenever I'm playing bad, I feel like it drops to 8.5 out of 10. Like, I just start to get cheesed a ton, but regardless, like, I like it a ton. Um, it's just a shame that I don't actually play this match ball too often since there's like two other Marths out there. It's just Logan and Zane and who else is there? How did I nullify Logan's tech chases? I started to DI towards the ledge. Like I slid off to the ledge and that kind of invalidated his tech chases. Puff. Ooh, Puff. How do I feel versus Puff? I think I'll give myself a 7.75 out of 10. It's a weird rating, but versus Puff, it's actually like one of my more neglected matchups, I feel like, where I think I'm like decent at the matchup. Like I know all the rules and how to be good versus Puff. But the problem is that like I barely play the matchup, and because I barely play the matchup, I end up forgetting the rules. Like because I don't play the matchup all too often, like I end up like forgetting the rules and then end up looking really dumb. I give myself a 7.75 because like it's proven that like I can beat like the puffs the tier below me. Like I mean I beat Palpa and SDJ. That proves that I'm not trash in the puff matchup. And I just think overall, like whenever I play friendlies versus Puff, like I do generally beat them most of the time. But the way how I lose certain games is like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have dropped that if I like actually kept following the rules. Um, and whenever I look bad this matchup, I look really bad. Like I probably look like 5 out of 10 because I start doing really bad shield grabs. I do dash grabs. I like swing too much in spots I'm not supposed to. I get pound reversaled, and it's like, yeah, like that's like I know looking back, it's like that's definitely not how I should be playing the matchup. And I and then like there's two Saint that picks me apart. I think like I have the capability of being really good at this matchup. It's just that because I don't play it too often, the rules start to get lost within me, and that's when I like can play bad at times. Let's move on to Sheik. Where Sheik, I'm gonna give this a solid 8 out of 10 at this point. I feel like right now, like before I was like practicing against Sheik every day, I would say like I was like 6 out of 10 versus Sheik. But now I feel like a solid 8 out of 10 versus Sheik, where I finally figured out how to like find a balance between zoning and moving, where like before like I would overdo one of them. Um, like a lot of my punishers were underdeveloped versus Sheik. Not I would like overcommit in so many spots versus Sheik and just die for free. And also, yeah, I would just die for free a lot rather than making Sheik work for it. I would think that my defense versus Sheik has gone a lot better ever since like getting Duck's advice on that. Um, so I think right now I'm a lot stronger versus Sheik than I am versus a lot like I think back then when I was 6 out of 10 in this matchup, it's like there's no way I would ever beat Spark and Face on this condition. But yeah, now I'm able to have competitive sets versus Spark. Probably would also versus Face Roll. I'm able to take games off of Plup as well. Where back then I was like, I would just get 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. But now that like I feel like I'm capable in the Sheik matchup again, like I feel like I could take sets, maybe even give Leffen a run for his money. But like I still have a lot more to push in this matchup. Like I'm not perfect. There's still a lot of like precisions I need to break down. I still like tend to break in this matchup first because this is really a matchup where if either character breaks first, they tend to lose, and I tend to break first a lot. Which is why whenever I'm playing bad, it kind of just goes down to like 7 out of 10 because if I get impatient, then I just lose. Uh he it's definitely better than when I first was like getting better at the matchup, whereas like my bad now is so much better than when I first was getting better at this matchup. Like before it was like a 6 out of 10 matchup for me, and even when I'm playing bad, I still think like I could potentially win versus Sheiks. So it's getting to the point where like I would rather fight a Sheik in bracket than Puff, which is crazy for me to say. Alright. How do I feel about Peach? Alright. This number might surprise you. This is currently how I feel versus Peach. Where yeah, that's like my honest thoughts versus Peach at the moment, where I don't feel like I'm that good versus Peach right now. Like I rarely play versus Peach nowadays, and like if I fight against like a top tier East Coast Peach player like Laud and Polish, like I'm probably gonna lose to them. Like just being pragmatic here, because here's the thing: the reason why I give myself a rating above 6 is because I think I'm good enough in the Peach matchup. Like this is the rating where I might drop sets versus Wally, Aura, and Keizu, but because I've developed like enough counterplay to them, like I could beat them. Like there was a world where back then I was like 4 out of 10 versus Peach, but now like since I developed enough, I feel like I'm here. But I recognize that like I still have like a shit ton to develop versus Peach. Like I still don't think I'm that good versus Peach, if I'm being honest. And like the reason why I feel like I have better matchups versus like Keizu and Aura, which I've beaten them at Smash World Tour qualifiers, is because they're like I think they're like a lot more aggressive, and that's much easier for me to beat. Whereas Laud and Polish are a lot more. They're much more down to wait and turnip camp, and I don't have as good answers versus that, frankly. And yeah, that's why they're better, at least versus me. So it's like I'm not ever really happy fighting a Peach in bracket, if I'm being honest, because like I still don't feel comfortable, and yeah, I feel like Trip will probably counter me as well. Especially if I'm playing bad, it's like I don't know, it's like 4 out of 10. It's pretty bad. It's really bad, and I'd rather. I don't like fighting Peach, at this moment because I'm just not good at it. I feel like if I played against Peach like every day, I'd do better. But Peach is like, it's like, basically I should practice versus Peach because like, you know. I might fight one at Genesis. I should like hit up Polish and see how connection is. Because I think if I get like enough Polish practice, like this could be one of my better matchups. But like at the moment, I have not practiced against Peach in months. And I barely fought Peaches in bracket. How do I feel about Falcon? I actually feel pretty good about it. I think this is like roughly on par with my Marth matchup, where it's not my strongest matchup, but I also think I developed it really well. If you look at my general records versus Falcon, it's actually pretty good. The 2 sets I played versus Wizzy, I took him to game 5, and at Riptide, I lost 3-1, but it's like, I'm still able to take games off of Wizzy, the best Falcon. I've taken sets off of Nun, S2J, Gatsu, all the Falcons tier below Wizzy. And I have like a good record versus Soof. I get a lot of Falcon practice, and I feel like normally this is like Marth players' weaker matchups, but because I've gotten tons of practice and I found counterplays and good positions and edge guarding versus Falcon, like I feel like this became one of my better matchups over time because like I've just gotten so much exposure. I played Soof so many goddamn times. I played a lot of Falcon. Like I have a winning record versus SJ lately. Like the last 4 sets the last 6 sets we played, I'm like 4-2 over him. And like I beat None at the last local that we played. And yeah, I feel like this is just like actually like a very comfortable, strong matchup for me, where like I'm able to abuse name and place. I'm able to edge guard and tech chase well. I feel like I also have like pretty good reads on what Falcon wants whenever he's at a disadvantage. I feel like that's a very big reason why I'm strong at this matchup. But if I'm not playing well, I feel like it kind of drops down to 8 out of 10, where like the Falcon kind of just death touches me, and it's like, it feels so bad. Like every time like you're missing like the little things, it's like, oh god, end me, please end me. um, where he just death touches you and you miss your little things. Actually, I shouldn't say. Is it like? It's. I don't know. Maybe it might be like 7.5 out of 10, because like he just kills you, dude, and like you're not killing Falcon until like 200, so it might be like roughly around here. But whenever I'm playing bad versus Falcon, it does look pretty bad. Because Falcon kills Marth, and Marth doesn't as easily kill Falcon. And I'm probably making like worse decision making, which makes it even worse. But like, I'm trying to raise my floor to be like 8, but definitely historically speaking, it's been like 7.5 out of 10. So that's how I feel versus Falcon. And now versus Icies. Ooh, you're gonna see the worst number here yet. That's a 5 out of 10 matchup for me. I have literally not played versus Icies, any top level Icies, since quarantine. I have not fought a top level Icies in bracket in 2 years. That's why I'm really bad at it right now. Like, I just don't fight against Icies, dude. I don't know what you want me to do about it. Yeah, I have not played against Icies in years. Like, Army doesn't really play anymore. Bananas doesn't play. Ever since Wobbling got banned. Like, okay, before, like, by the way, pre-Wobbling, I used to be like 8 out of 10 versus like Icies. Like, I was actually pretty good at this matchup. I would have a winning record versus Army, like pre-Wobbling ban, and just be really strong versus Icies in general. But since I haven't practiced it in such a long time, I'm just bad at it now. Like, I have not practiced. Like, there's times where like I remember some rules in the matchup, and that's why I don't just lose to any Icies. Like, I think if you put me against Trail, like I would figure it out. But I at the moment, like, if Slug were to beat me, he'd fucking destroy me. That's for sure. And I'm just counting on Slug to just lose to no fluxes on the way. You know, that's my strat, and I'm not gonna even put like a bad matchup for this, because if I'm playing bad versus Icy, it's definitely worse than 5 out of 10. Versus Pikachu, I'd say right now I'm 6 out of 10 in the matchup. I feel like at the moment, like, I know some really good stuff versus Pikachu. Like, I know some crouch stuff that makes it really hard for Pikachu to hit me. I know some up throw and tech chasing follow-ups. Like, I know how to time my F smash now to beat tech in place. I know some edge guard stuff. I know some of my advantage position. But overall, like, there's still so much for me to push in this matchup. Like, I feel like if you were to put Axe or Tyler Swift against me, I'd probably lose. But like, I would learn something each time. Like, I think like I don't be surprised if I were to like take either of them like to game 5 at some point, because like I do feel like I am learning this matchup like a decent amount. Like, I like the last time I played OKP, actually was like I had like the winning record in our friendlies, because like I understand this matchup like good enough where I know a lot of positions where like I just don't get cheesed that easily. Like, I'm not as lost in this matchup, but like I could still like push a lot of things. Versus Samus, I used to be like 7 out of 10 and just like lose versus lost Samus, but I think now I'm like 8.5 out of 10. Like, I know, like, nah, not 8.5, just like 8 out of 10. I don't practice this matchup all too often. It's definitely a very slow matchup, and whenever I'm playing impatient or bad, it's definitely like a 6.5 out of 10 matchup where like I'm just W holding and I play even worse and it's like oh god. I like try to edge guard Samus and gets reversaled, and then that's how she wins. Or like I don't space it down tilt properly, and they CC down smash me, or I don't shield. I don't beat the missile properly, and it just hits me like. But overall, like I think I'm solid enough to like just like beat just about every Samus because like Duck and Plup don't play Samus anymore. I think I'm good enough to beat Morse code, but like he could definitely like we've played a lot of friendlies before. It would like always go back and forth. I think he's like a really big reason why I'm like I consider myself 8 out of 10 because at some point I practice versus him like every day and the swooper. Um, like I feel like if I were to meet either of them bracket, I think I'm favored, but it's also not impossible for them to beat me. And I am super ready from fair from ledge. Don't you worry. I know how to beat that. Yoshi. It's like a 6.5 out of 10. It's like I think I actually know the rules worse than Pikachu, but what makes it up is that like I play this matchup way more than Pikachu. Like the only Pikachu practice that I've ever gotten is versus Tyler Swift and OKP. But Yoshi's there's actually like a lot of mid-level Yoshi players and like a lot of Yoshis that I've fought over the years, like Santi's Yoshi for example, Whiskers, Mono, Nez, all these Yoshi players that like over time. Oh, and Egg Money. Um, I've I've played a lot. I've gotten a lot of good Yoshi practice. I think like I know there's still a lot for me to develop versus Yoshi, honestly, despite me playing the matchup a lot. Like I still think there's like certain rules that I could follow a little better. And I have definitely like break really easily versus Yoshi. I tend to probably go in more than I should. And if I were to face Amsa, I think I'd probably lose. It's not I feel like I have to play like my understanding to beat Amsa would have to be like 9 out of 10, so I still have like long ways to go. But yeah, it's definitely a very hard matchup for me, and I gotta figure out something. Luigi, it's one of my best matchups. Period. Like I have not dropped a set versus Luigi in like 4 to 5 years. Because I got like one of my first good matchups was versus Luigi in my time at UCI. Like I've played so much Luigi players. Like yeah, I had some scares before, like getting taken to game 5 versus Eddie. But the reason why that's so significant is because like I've literally never dropped a set to him before, and like if I ever remotely like try to practice versus Luigi, like they just get 3 stocked, and I just ride off of like my knowledge versus Luigi because like I just know what to do. Like I know how to kill Luigi, I know to edge guard him, I know how to juggle him, I know how to play neutral versus him. If you're a Luigi player and you ever face me, like be prepared to go to losers bracket because you're not winning versus me. Doc, I want to say it's like 8.25 out of 10. Like I do feel pretty solid about it. Although whenever I'm playing bad, it's like a 7 out of 10 because Doc hits Marth really hard. Surprisingly, with his cape edge guard, his down smash, his annoying ass pills. But I've gotten so much Franz practice where like I realize how good Rising Fair is. I know how to tech chase and juggle properly. I know to edge guard and feel very very strong about the matchup. Ganon also like I guess I'll say 9.25 out of 10. I guess like I wouldn't go so far to say like, oh yeah, I'm like super super good versus Ganon, but like I love the Ganon matchup personally. Like if you space snare and you fair while I'm out when he's above you, like there's just not too much you can do. Like he can just kill you, but like I don't know. I'm gonna speed up now with these remaining matchups. Uh Mario is like it's like Doc but easier, so like 8.5 because like Mario doesn't hit as hard as his Doc. DK, I'll say it's like 7.5 out of 10. Despite me playing Wrangler a lot, I feel like I just outplay him rather than like playing a matchup. Like, I know like some matchup stuff like be directly below DK, but like he can hit really hard. And I'm not sure. It's a matchup that I will play and definitely like if I were to play against Rishi's DK, I might drop a game. That's how I'll put it. Young Link, it's probably like 8 out of 10. I'm gonna be honest, I barely played that matchup, but Link, because like I imagine Young Link to be like an easier version of Link. Link is also probably like 7.5 out of 10, where like if I'm playing against Aklo, uh, I could just lose, but I do think I am like good enough in the matchup to beat Aklo's Link. It's just that like I need to actually play the rules of it. Um, like if I'm playing bad in this matchup, it's like yeah, this is like a 5 out of 10 where like I'm just kind of getting tossed around. Uh, but if I'm playing good enough to like actually counter Link accordingly, like I think it's around here, and I think this number is good enough to beat Link because like Link is not that good. And then versus the rest of the cast, I don't know, like 7 out of 10. Maybe. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm 7 out of 10 versus Roy. I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? Who won West Coast bracket last night? Some handsome fella. Not sure. But yeah, those are like that's my personal matchup chart. Hopefully that was somewhat insightful to how I view certain matchups.